Well, friends, how are you doing? Day 1668. Hope you're doing amazing. Just want to come in and just share some thoughts on profanity. Yes, using curse words. Why do people do it? There could be a number of reasons. I remember when I was younger, I didn't curse very much until I got to university, actually. At that time, I would use it to create more, what's the word? More laughs. And I thought it was just, in good fun, all good, clean fun. Wasn't much of an issue. I came home during the summer and I actually didn't realize how much I was cursing. Like, apparently, every sentence or every other sentence, I was using the F word or what have you. And my brother actually was the one who pointed it out to me. And I was like, I'm like, no, I don't. And then I just kept talking. I was like, oh my gosh, actually I am. And I had never intended to use profanity in my language. But I unknowingly or unintentionally started using it quite regularly. Even though it may have had a good origin or intent. Over time, it just became a part of my vocabulary. And when it was pointed out to me, I wasn't defensive. I was just like, oh, I didn't realize that. Like, oh my gosh, I was actually a little bit in shock. And so I stopped. I put the intention out there that I was going to start cursing because there was no need to in my mind. Plus, if I'm always cursing, then when I want to actually make a point, then I can't use that as a way to actually emphasize a point. And so nowadays, a lot of my friends, they're surprised when they hear me curse. Because I don't curse that much. I do, but not much. And they're like, whoa, I never hear you swear. I'm like, well, I don't need to. And I try to reserve it for when I need to make a point or emphasize a point. But really, it could be maybe why? Well, do you curse, and if so, why? Is it habit? I think for a lot of people, it's just laziness. Instead of finding the right words or thinking of it, they just use a curse word to not really think about what word they actually really want to express. And so it's either laziness, or it could be a sign of like a lack of vocabulary to be able to express yourself. And so if you want to communicate effectively, obviously you need a good vocabulary, know a lot of different words, and the best way to do it is to read. And not read comics, not read articles, but read books. Read good books. And whether it's in a business relationship or a personal relationship, it is important to have the right vocabulary. And when we communicate our needs, sometimes we may use profanity because we're uncomfortable with our emotions, of being vulnerable. Maybe we're trying to avoid vulnerability. And so we might get mad. Maybe it's overwhelming. It could be a number of reasons. And sometimes we mistake saying what we think instead of how we feel. Again, vocabulary is important, right? Sometimes we try to intellectualize things versus just, okay, this is how I feel. And we try to fix the problem, but you can't until you actually acknowledge your emotions and actually name them. And it may be a skill that needs to be practiced and bettered. Again, I'm talking about vocabulary. I can't even think of the right words. My brain's not working. Improved. Bettered. What the fuck? Never have to be, I never said you have to be perfect for anything. But when you are able to actually express yourself, oh my gosh, true vulnerability can be powerful. Because what that means is that you've let go of anger instead of holding on to it. And you know what? What happens is that you get to show up authentically. And that is very powerful. And of course, I'm just talking about relationships, whether it be personal or business or what have you, right? But I don't know. Do you curse a lot, or do you curse at people, and why? Right? I'm not judging. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just challenging you. Why do you do it? Again, might be a habit that you've picked up and you don't even realize it, like I did when I was younger. But yeah, my encouragement to you is to instead of curse, learn different words to actually express yourself more effectively. And when you actually have to emphasize a point, that's when you might want to put in some curse words when needed. And again, context is everything. But yeah, or do you have people cursing you often, whether it be a family member or your partner, maybe? And if so, and if you allow it, why? Why haven't you put a healthy boundary and saying this is not acceptable? Because you don't have to accept it if someone's cursing at you. And you know what? If they don't respect you enough to be able to respectfully talk to you, then why are you with that person? Right? You deserve so much better. But anyway, that's kind of all I want to share tonight, my friends. But yeah, that's just a little bit of my story of learning and just being aware of how much swearing I was actually doing when I was younger. And I just didn't want to be that person. You know what? I want to be a good role model, and, someone who's, shows up authentically, classy, kind, right? And not that you can't be that, if you do curse, but how much? That's all. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.